Hello, my name is Christophe Bonnier, and I am a fine art photographer. I've been practicing fine art photography for about 50 years, and I've been working in the darkroom and shooting silver gelatin film. This is a photograph that I took quite recently in the south of France, in the national park of the Pyrenees, where I live with my wife. I love waterfalls and I love photography. And this classic image, this is a classic print on store-bought photographic paper. So it's signed and numbered. It's numbered because I can reproduce this image perfectly, exactly like this photograph, this print, every single time. Now I've also gotten into a totally different dimension because now I make my own silver gelatin emulsion. This is the same negative, but in this case it's printed on my own silver gelatin, which is a suspension of silver salts in gelatin and then painted onto a paper, good artistic fine art paper, aquarelle paper. On the back of each print I have the file number, title, date, and the type of silver salts that I've used and the type of paper. I love the silver gelatin medium. It gives you really nice blacks and whites. I love working in the darkroom. I like a hands-on process, and now that I'm making my own silver gelatin emulsion, I've got new challenges in my life because it is so difficult to make. You cannot make the same print twice. So because there are so many variables that you cannot control, each print will never look the same as another print, and they are both totally different, expressive in nature. The self-made silver gelatin is a medium that is much more emotional, much more free, but there's a lot more risks. When I'm working in the darkroom with my own gelatin, I may be able to make 2 prints a week, but nowadays, currently, at the moment, I'm lucky if I get away with 1 print a month. Everything is chemical, everything is chemistry. Now in the picture, in this image here, I photographed this in Squamish, BC, and this waterfall here is very high, and I use a 4x5 camera as opposed to a 35mm camera. The 4x5 camera has a nice big large negative, gives you a lot more detail and a lot more contrast and a lot more gradation between the highs and the lows. Much more quality. The camera is quite heavy. I have to put it in the knapsack. It's a foldable Zone 6 wooden field camera, and yet have to use a tripod. When I photographed this image, I did about 8 different negatives at the time. It took me about 3.5 hours. And guess who was soaking wet after 15 minutes of shooting? Because most of the time I was just in the middle of the waterfall, finding the best angle and just getting drenched in water. And I think it took about 3 days. I had to take the camera apart, separate all the lenses, film holders, tripod, blah, blah, blah. It took about 2 days to dry, and I had to re-oil and refit all of the parts. And I was a young man then, and I could climb up the slippery slopes like an antelope, and take a lot of risks. You know, once in a while I fall and hurt myself, but nowadays, I wouldn't be able to do this kind of picture because I'm not as strong. The field by 5 camera, the pack weighs about 15 kilos, and I've done lots of canoeing with my field camera and tripod, I've maybe done about 3,000, 5,000 kilometers in a canoe, wilderness camping across Canada. I've taken this camera to 10, 15 different countries, and it's a passion. It's an artistic passion about love of life, emotional, the current emotional state, abstract, reality, dynamics. There's so many philosophies that are involved in all my photographs. Most of the time, I try and give a special view on life. Waterfalls are very symbolic of life. And if you go in there and you work with the light and the reflections, then you get some nice compositions and nice dynamics between the highs and the lows. As you can see in this photograph here, again in the south of France, of this beautiful waterfall. I'm constantly innovating or reinventing new formulas in the darkroom for silver gelatin. I'm constantly creating new developers. Right now I created a developer which is environmentally friendly with vitamin C. And so everything is a work in process.